Hello, Bill Risser with Chicago Title. Today it's part 3 of our Facebook Essentials for Real Estate Professionals. In part 1, we talked about lists and which lists are important. Part 2, we started the privacy settings tutorials, and we're going to continue that today with part 3. So let's dive right into it. The privacy settings are accessed through this drop-down arrow, and when you click on privacy settings, we can see all of these different controls. We talked about how you connect and how tags work yesterday. I'm not really going to go deep into apps and websites, limit the audience for past posts, and blocked people and apps today. These are important, and I'll do separate tutorials on each one of these sections. But for now, what I really want to do is actually go into your personal profile, your timeline, or your wall, and talk about how you have total control over who can see what about you. Okay, so let's start with some basic things. First of all, what we're looking at here is my timeline. And if you don't have the timeline yet, you will soon. Everyone's walls are going away, and this is going to be your new personal profile. It's called a timeline. So let's quickly look at how we can play with some of the privacy settings inside here. And if we go to update info, and this brings up basically an editing page for our profile information where I can change my work history, I can change my school, I can change where I live, my basic info, my contact info, all of the things that we set up in our profile. I can come in and I can edit these things here. The one thing I can do though that's very cool is alongside each one of these, I can set the privacy settings for each one of these different options. So for example, if I wanted to go into my contact basic info when I hit edit, inside each one, the fact that my birthday is here, I can control who can see that. I have it set for friends of friends, but I can come in and say only friends can see it, the whole public can see it, or by hitting this custom button, I can open up this cool tool that I could pick just specific people and maybe just let my family see when my birthday is. And when I hit save changes, when I hover, only my family can see when my birthday is. Now I'll go ahead and change that back to friends of friends, just because I kind of like having more people know when my birthday is, because I like the wishes on my timeline. So I've made that change. But each individual piece of information about you, you have the ability to control who can see it. So it's very important that you play around with the timeline. Make sure you go back in to this section right here that says update info, and then go through every single piece of it. If you don't see, in this case, if you don't see who can see this about you, click on the edit button and it will bring up the little gear that allows you to go in and control who can see it. So very, very important. We'll talk more about how lists work into this strategy in part 4, but this is a cool way to make sure you've got your timeline and your profile set so only the appropriate people can see the appropriate information. Now, one last thing before I get too far away from here, you can do this as well for every individual post. Let me scroll down and find a post here that, so scroll down. So let's say it's this post about, right here, reliving a bit of the glory. I'm at Paradise Bakery. So right now I can hover and I have it set that all my friends can see it. But if I wanted to change that at any time, I simply click on the drop down and there's my selector again. I can make it private to only me. I can customize it and create settings so that just a few people can see it. But I have total control. So I can go back in time on posts that I didn't realize how to control back in the day and go through and change every single one of those. I can also remove these things from my timeline if I think it's not appropriate. I don't know why I'd remove it when I can set the viewing audience for each one independently. And because I know how to use lists, I can actually set it that this list can see it, but this list can't, and so on. So I think you have to play with this a little bit, but understand that by going deep into the privacy settings inside your personal profile, you have absolute total control. That's the most important part of this. Any questions about this? Or email me at billrisser@gmail.com. Or you can also connect with me on Facebook at facebook.com/billrisser. Or as always, go to chicagotitlearizona.com to see the rest of our series. If you have any other questions, let us know. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.